Rentarou is a high school student who has never been in a relationship and struggles to talk to girls, similar to some of my anime lovers. When he finally gathered the courage to ask his 100th crush out, he was rejected just like the 99 times before. Finally, he made the century and rejected by 100 girls. This made him feel really down and afraid to talk to anyone. Now the time has come to become a top G.
I'm top G.
However, things changed for Rentarou in high school, and he became quite popular with the ladies. He is now top G of the class, and he even ended up marrying several women to make up for his past rejections. It all started when Rentarou gathered the courage to confess his feelings to his longtime crush. She admitted that she liked him but only as a fan and couldn't date him because the idea of dating someone she considered a loser made her feel disgusted and miserable. While his friend accompanied him on the way home, they provided emotional support to Rentarou and teased him for facing rejection for the 100th time. He considered that the Guinness World Record should interview him due to his repeated rejections, but he remained in the same spot without taking any action. As he remembered the first time he got rejected by a girl, Rentarou felt like he just wanted to experience having a girlfriend. His friend was puzzled about why Rentarou always faced rejection, despite having all the qualities of every girl's dream guy. His friend bid him farewell and wished him not so good luck in his love life in high school, expecting it to be another unfortunate chapter. Later that day, Rentarou went to a shrine to pray to the god of love, desperately hoping for a girlfriend, even though he believed he had no redeeming qualities. He prayed to God to help him find joy and love when he started high school. Suddenly, he heard a strange voice and saw an old, muscular head emerging from the donation box, claiming to be the great god of love. Rentarou was startled and wondered why the god of love was an unattractive old man who scared him with his appearance, rather than a beautiful goddess or at least a handsome young man. I think he is now turning into gay. The god told Rentarou that he would meet his soulmate in high school and have a joyful life. Upon hearing this, Rentarou was overwhelmed with the thought of actually meeting his soulmate during high school. However, the god also mentioned that he would meet a total of 100 soulmates, which sounded absurd and unbelievable to Rentarou. He accused the all-powerful love god of being a fraud and threatened to burn down the shrine if it turned out to be a trick. 1 month later, Rentarou started high school, unaware that his 100 soulmate journey was about to begin. As he walked down the hallway, he accidentally bumped into 2 girls named Inda and Hakari. When they locked eyes with Rentarou, they both felt a soulmate sensation. Rentarou wondered if they were the soulmates the god had mentioned. Rentarou tried to help them up, but Hakari pretended to have sprained her ankle and asked him to carry her to the nurse's office. This made Rentarou cry like a baby because he had unintentionally hurt a pretty girl. In the meantime, Inda looked jealous and also pretended to have a sprained ankle. In his confusion, Rentarou started punching himself as punishment for hurting Inda and Hakari, which made the girls intervene to stop him from hurting himself further. However, they forgot they were supposed to be injured, and just as Rentarou noticed their acting, they both fell back down and continued their terrible performance. As a dork, Rentarou continued to help the girls up and tried to take them to the nurse's office. However, it turned out that the girls were the ones carrying him instead. As they made their way, the girls started to argue over who got to claim Rentarou. He soon realized what was happening and was overwhelmed by the fact that 2 girls were clinging to him so tightly that he almost got really scared and nervous. As they walked to the nurse's office, Inda and Hakari realized that they were in the same class as Rentarou. They overheard 2 students talking about a 4-leaf clover that had the power to make even girls more attractive, allowing them to ask any guy out. This information prompted them to run off, leaving Rentarou behind as they went in search of the 4-leaf clover. A few hours later, after school had ended, Rentarou was walking home and stumbled upon Inda and Hakari on the school field. He was surprised to find them still searching for the 4-leaf clover. Rentarou approached them with some drinks, offering one to Inda. However, she was too shy to accept it directly from him, as she already had feelings for him. They playfully bickered with each other like 2 lovebirds, and Inda finally took the drink before running off because of her shyness. Soon after, Hakari arrived, and Rentarou offered her a can of drink. However, Hakari had a different plan in mind. She wanted to share an indirect kiss with Rentarou, so she told him she couldn't finish a whole can of the drink and asked if he could drink half of it for her. Rentarou, being clueless, didn't understand what was happening, so he brought her a smaller can. Hakari insisted she couldn't finish even a smaller can, and Rentarou decided to gulp it down for her. Hakari's plan was about to succeed until she became overwhelmed with excitement and accidentally spilled the whole drink. She could only watch heartbroken as her chance for an indirect kiss flew away. Rentarou offered Hakari a handkerchief to clean herself up, but instead she romantically held Rentarou's hand and asked him out. She mentioned that she felt she wasn't the only one who had feelings for him. Rentarou was in shock because this was the first time a girl had asked him out. Overwhelmed, he started crying like a school kid. As they were about to get close and cozy, Inda, who had been in denial, came in with lots of soda to repay Rentarou for his kindness. She was both jealous and shocked to see the boy she had been dreaming about holding hands with another girl. Unable to contain her feelings any longer, Inda also confessed her love to Rentarou. Rentarou's lifelong dream was finally coming true as two girls had asked him out in a single day. Both Hakari and Inda asked Rentarou to choose one of them, but he couldn't decide and asked them to wait until the following day. Rentarou had no choice but to return to the god of love at the shrine. The god told him that he had to choose both of them and admitted that he had made a mistake by giving him 100 soulmates instead of just one. To make matters worse, the god revealed that Rentarou had to make all his soulmates happy or else he would face a terrible fate. This added even more pressure to Rentarou's already complicated situation. Rentarou walked home, realizing that the so-called almighty god of love might not be so almighty after all, considering the mistake he made. Rentarou then came up with a plan to reject both of them and secretly date both Hakari and Inda behind their backs. So guys, now he became Dan Bilzerian. Rentarou met up with both girls looking a bit dirty, which surprised Hakari and Inda. They asked him if he had made a choice yet. Rentarou, who couldn't bear to lie to them, told the truth. He explained that he wanted both of them to be his girlfriends and gave a heartfelt speech about how he loved them both and wanted to make them the happiest girls alive. Rentarou then presented 2 4-leaf clovers, knowing that they had been searching for one. Inda mocked the idea of such a fairy tale, but Hakari reminded her that they had once believed in it and looked for it too. Inda, however, outright refused to be in a two-timing relationship because she wanted Rentarou all to herself. Rentarou delivered a brief and romantic speech about how he wanted to hand the flowers over to them as he gave them his answer. The girls couldn't resist the sweet gesture, and in the end, Hakari was the first to agree to be his girlfriend. This made Inda so jealous that she also agreed to become Rentarou's girlfriend. Rentarou promised to make them the happiest girls alive, momentarily forgetting that he had 98 more soulmates to make happy. Rentarou was so happy that he didn't even realize when he started talking to a pole about his new relationship status. The girls walked in and caught Rentarou talking to the pole. Rentarou didn't want them to think he was acting strangely, so he distracted them by explaining how happy he was to finally have a girlfriend. Inda realized he wasn't feeling loved at home, so she romantically told him that she was always ready to listen to him. However, she still kept her distance, as was her habit. Hakari, on the other hand, grabbed Rentarou's hand and drew closer to him, making Inda jealous. Rentarou, not wanting to leave either of them out, took Inda's hand as well. The three of them walked to school like a trio of lovebirds, singing each other's names and enjoying their newfound romantic connection. I hope, guys, this will turn into later. As they entered school, they witnessed the notoriously strict vice principal chasing a student, which made them pause for a moment. Hakari had a thought and asked Rentarou if he had ever kissed anyone before. It was evident that Rentarou only had experience with 2 girls, Inda and Hakari, who were his first ever girlfriends. Inda and Hakari then engaged in a playful battle to determine who would get to be Rentarou's first kiss, leaving him to wonder how he became a Riz god overnight. I want to also meet God of Love. Comment if you want meet the God of Love. During lunch break, Rentarou and his 2 girlfriends sat on the rooftop alone. Hakari took the opportunity to offer Rentarou the food she had prepared, and he loved it so much that he was moved to tears. Inda, who often felt jealous, brought out some cookies she had baked. Rentarou opened his mouth to receive them, but Inda accidentally stuffed one into his eye because she was embarrassed. When Rentarou finally tasted the cookie, he realized what it meant to be blinded by love, albeit in a literal sense. All these shenanigans were part of a plot to try and get Rentarou's first kiss. Hakari had a well-thought-out game plan to secure a kiss from Rentarou, and she almost had it. However, Inda intervened and stopped her by accidentally blinding Rentarou's other eye with more of her love-themed actions. I don't know how much love he received, but if this will continue, Rentarou must have lost his eyes. It soon escalated into an intense battle as they fought for the chance to be the first to get a kiss from Rentarou. The situation got so out of hand that Hakari resorted to giving Inda some bust shots as they competed for Rentarou's affection. Clueless Rentarou finally realized what was happening and told them that they could have simply asked for a kiss. Despite his explanation, the girls continued to fight for the coveted first kiss. Rentarou, being a genius and thinking like Einstein when it came to safeguarding his heart, had cooked up a plan for the situation because he is the Riz god. He made a big and confusing speech about his plan to kiss both of them and claimed it was going to be a random situation. Rentarou then blindfolded both Hakari and Inda and started the plan by approaching Hakari. However, he didn't know it was her, and he mistakenly grabbed her plots. Hakari didn't mind and wanted him to remove the armor on plots, which prompted them to start the plan all over again. This time, Rentarou ended up approaching Inda. A gust of wind blew and lifted Inda's blindfold. Meanwhile, a cultured stray cat on the rooftop saw Inda's blindfold and jumped toward it. The cat began to play with the blindfold as Rentarou approached Inda. She thought it was Rentarou playing with her, which led to her furiously kicking him before jumping on him and delivering a series of punches to his face. She called him a shameless jerk and a degenerate. After venting her anger, she finally calmed down. Rentarou had to start the plan all over again, paying no regard to the pain he was enduring because it was a hurdle he needed to overcome. However, after many attempts, the plan failed repeatedly and they all grew tired and wondered why kissing seemed so difficult. Once again, the girls began to argue, each laying claim to Rentarou, who was now unsure of how to feel. At this point, Rentarou intervened and stopped them mid-argument. He took all the blame upon himself, claiming it was because he was a useless, inexperienced boyfriend with no game who had never had his first kiss. Rentarou called out the vice principal's name, who had a reputation for punishing anyone running in the hallway with a first kiss. But before the vice principal could kiss Rentarou, Inda and Hakari came to his rescue. They asked Rentarou why he had run off like that, and he told them that he loved them so much and wanted them to get along. This confession got Inda and Hakari so emotional that they both reluctantly agreed that any of them could have the first kiss. It was an explosion of emotions as Rentarou hugged both of his girlfriends, who had finally decided to let their hearts bloom. Rentarou then came up with another master plan where all three of them should share a kiss at the same time. Even though it sounded silly, they have start a group kiss, or I think it's a start of some. The next day at school, Rentarou and his girlfriends were in the library. Inda and Hakari were trying to impress Rentarou by getting a cookbook so they could cook different meals for him. Meanwhile, Rentarou decided to browse the bookshelf himself. As he was about to pick up a book he liked, his hand bumped into the hand of a girl who was also trying to pick up the same book. This moment created a romantic encounter as their eyes locked, giving Rentarou the same soulmate sensation he had felt before. He wondered if this mystery girl was also his soulmate. The mysterious encounter left the girl flustered as she was quite shy. She initially wanted to run away after seeing Rentarou, but he urged her to stay and take the book instead. Using the book in her hands, she drew his attention to something written on the page she had opened. When Rentarou read it, he realized she was trying to tell him that she was the librarian. He also noticed her armband, which indicated her role. She seemed to be communicating with the book, which gave Rentarou the impression that she might be a bit eccentric. However, he soon realized he wasn't supposed to be talking in the library. She asked Rentarou what he wanted and what he was looking for. However, Rentarou, who was still clueless, started making sign language gestures to indicate that he wanted a novel. This made the librarian ask why he was acting like a mute, which only irritated him because she was the one who had initiated the non-verbal communication in the first place. Feeling uncomfortable, the girl ran off, but Rentarou stopped her by placing a hand on her shoulder. He felt sorry for making her uncomfortable and politely asked her for help. Moving on, Rentarou inquired if she had any recommendations for romance novels, particularly the type where the characters overcome all hurdles, unlike the tragic story of Romeo and Juliet. This question made the librarian excited, and she started running around in search of novels that matched Rentarou's specifications. Rentarou was impressed with how efficiently she was doing her job. She brought a pile of books according to his specifications, but it seemed she had gone a bit overboard in her enthusiasm. Rentarou was initially overwhelmed by the mountain of books in front of him. The librarian noticed his reaction and apologized for scaring him. She told him to take what he needed while she returned the other books. Rentarou was touched by her dedication, and her effort made him want to read all the books because she had tried so hard to help him. However, when Rentarou tried to check the books out, he found out that he would have to wait a week to obtain a library card. This disappointment led him to hand back the book they had used for communication, which she gladly accepted. Finally, Rentarou asked for her name, and she showed him her ID card, revealing that her name was Shizuka, and they were in the same class. Rentarou also introduced himself, and after their brief interaction, he bid her farewell. Meanwhile, Rentarou's girlfriends were still trying to get a recipe book to impress Rentarou. When Rentarou saw them working hard, he was deeply touched that his girlfriends were putting in extra effort, as they had realized that the way to a guy's heart was often through his stomach. Later in the evening at his place, Rentarou picked up the book given to him by Shizuka. This book contained love stories called Siren Love Story. Rentarou began reading the first story, which was about a princess and a knight who fell in love with each other. However, the knight couldn't marry the princess because he was a broke.
You're broke! You're fucking poor!
Who would never be accepted by the royal family. Instead, the princess had to marry someone from a noble family. Despite this, the night was strong, and they both went on dangerous quests, putting their lives on the line. This story moved Rentarou to tears, making him sob like a crybaby, as he always, and it became clear why he had been single all along. Rentarou realized that the story continued in Volume 2, but he had at least learned something important from it. He had to be willing to fight for love. The following day, Rentarou went straight to Shizuka's table, looking excited as he enjoyed the book. This startled Shizuka and made her blush bright red. Before Rentarou could say anything else, she offered him Volume 2 of the book, acting almost like a person in love. Rentarou thanked her and started thinking of a way to repay her for her kindness. While his two girlfriends bickered as usual, Rentarou snuck out of the class to a vending machine and bought a can of drink. He then offered it to Shizuka as a gesture of appreciation and thanks for the books. They both went outside to have their drinks, and Rentarou couldn't stop talking about the story he had read the previous night. This made Shizuka smile, and she mentioned that the book was her holy grail. Rentarou wondered how Shizuka could communicate using a storybook, as it seemed challenging to flip to the right page for each response. He surmised that she must have read the book over and over again to get used to it, to which she explained that she never had friends and had only books to keep her company. Shizuka also thanked him for talking freely with her, even though she considered herself a bit of a weirdo. Rentarou, touched by her honesty, asked to borrow the first volume of the book again, extending their budding connection. Back at the library, Shizuka was doing her duties more diligently than usual, which caught the attention of the head librarian, who asked her why she was so motivated. Later on, Shizuka spotted the book that had brought her and Reno together on the shelf. This brought back memories of the moment they first met, and she tried to retrieve the book from the shelf. However, by then, 3 days had passed and Shizuka hadn't seen Reno again. This made her feel gloomy and yearn for their interaction. While walking down the hallway, she spotted Reno and his girlfriend sitting outside in the garden. Shizuka decided to spy on him and watched as Hakari kissed him. Reno shamelessly thanked her for the kiss, while Inda begged him to share some feminine energy with her, only to accidentally headbutt him. Shizuka was disappointed to learn that Reno already had a girlfriend. She recalled how she had been treated like an outcast by her peers, being called a freak with no social skills because she communicated using a notebook. Even her mother had rejected her because she found her behavior creepy. Shizuka concluded that nobody would want to talk to a freak like her and returned to her usual solace in the library. Suddenly, she saw Rentarou walk in, and it brightened up her day. Rentarou wanted to thank her for lending him her books, so he asked if she had a smartphone and installed a text-to-speech app that would help her express herself. Rentarou did this by typing out the entire Volume 1 of Sirt Love Story into the app over 3 days. Upon realizing that Rentarou had manually typed the entire novel for her, Shizuka concluded that she was going to marry him, which might have been his strategy from the beginning. This act of kindness had touched her heart deeply, and it seemed like the beginning of a special connection between them. Rentarou asked Shizuka to try the new app he had installed for her by thinking of a word to say. However, instead of trying the app, she confessed her love to him. Shizuka's feelings had clearly grown stronger, and she had taken the courageous step of sharing her affection with Rentarou. Rentarou grabbed Shizuka and also confessed his feelings, telling her that he loved her too. The two lovebirds, caught up in their own romantic world, thought they were characters from the novel and immersed themselves in fantasy. Afterward, Rentarou went to ask for permission from his two girlfriends, Inda and Hakari, to let him take Shizuka as his newest girlfriend. However, Inda was shocked and couldn't believe that Rentarou had asked her. She even asked him if his brain had gone rotten after she headbutted him. Hakari, on the other hand, found it touching that he had such a big heart to accommodate all three of them at once. Rentarou assured them that his feelings had not diminished for them, rather, meeting Shizuka had opened a reserve of love, and he now had enough love for all three of them. He promised to cherish each of them equally and said that if he ever failed to do so, he would atone for it by committing seppuku, emphasizing his commitment to their relationships. Rentarou convinced Inda and Hakari to agree to let Shizuka join their romantic circle, albeit with his not-so-wise words. Their decision was perhaps fueled by his desire to be with Shizuka. In doing so, Rentarou's not-so-wise words might have stirred up some playful teasing and excitement, with them referring to him as a real man. Afterwards, Rentarou formally introduced Shizuka as his new girlfriend to Inda and Hakari. Shizuka was pleased to be part of the group and seemed excited to join this newfound romantic dynamic. As they got to know each other better, Rentarou demonstrated how well he knew his girlfriends by sharing details about their habits, including the ones they never thought anyone had noticed. This revelation left them both shocked and embarrassed, but it also impressed them, showcasing his devotion to them. However, when Rentarou brought up the topic of kissing, Shizuka lost her composure as she had initially thought the relationship would be kept at a more innocent level. This twist in their relationship seemed to catch her by surprise. While Inda and Hakari took turns feeding Rentarou with the food they had specially prepared for him, they soon began to argue and fight because both wanted Rentarou to accompany them home. Rentarou couldn't help but notice that Shizuka was quiet and felt left out of the couple's fun time. He suspected that she might still be feeling shy since she wasn't yet familiar with Inda and Hakari. To include Shizuka and make her feel more comfortable, Rentarou suggested that they play a game called Old Maid. This was a thoughtful way to involve her in their activities and help her become more at ease with his other girlfriends. Rentarou added a penalty to the game. Whoever lost would get tickled by the winner. He had this crazy idea that laughter brings out a person's true character, so he called his plan Operation Everyone Tickles Each Other to become friendly. The girls couldn't help but think about how pleasurable it would be to get tickled by Rentarou. The first round of the game began, and the loser was Inda. She couldn't hide the fact that she really wanted Rentarou to tickle her, and she even laid down as though Rentarou wanted to develop a plot with her. The second round ended, and once again, the winner was Rentarou, while the loser was Hakari. Hakari jumped for joy and celebrated her victory, with Inda and Hakari having their own unique dynamic. Rentarou started tickling Hakari, which made her so excited that her enthusiasm was quite evident. Rentarou was having a field day as he also won the third round of the game, but this time the loser was Shizuka. Rentarou's plan to bring them closer through tickling was finally coming together. As he approached Shizuka for a tickle, he started tickling her and expected to hear a pretty laugh from her mouth. However, to his surprise, Shizuka gave a big laugh from her text-to-speech device. This unexpected reaction surprised Rentarou, but he still enjoyed watching her face light up as he tickled her. While Rentarou continued to tickle Shizuka, the other girls tried hard to ignore the unusual situation, perhaps finding it a bit awkward or bizarre. Meanwhile, Inda and Hakari soon realized that Rentarou had not lost a round in their game, and they both tried their best to win the next round so they could also have a chance to feel Rentarou's touch. However, in the fourth round, Rentarou finally lost, and the winner turned out to be Shizuka. Inda and Hakari were frustrated that fate didn't favor them in this round. Shizuka went to Rentarou and gave him the weakest tickle in the history of tickling, but Rentarou kept laughing and found it ticklish more than he had expected. Hakari couldn't help but wonder why Rentarou was attracted to someone as timid as Shizuka. She jokingly assumed he might have a lonely fetish, which made her concerned about his future. After the tickle fest, Rentarou walked away. Inda confronted Shizuka and asked her what her plan was and why she was the only one keeping her distance from Rentarou. Inda wanted to know why Shizuka hadn't taken the opportunity to touch Rentarou all over when she had the chance. Shizuka replied by saying that Inda and Hakari were Rentarou's first lovers, and she didn't want to come between them or be a hindrance to their existing relationship. Inda reassured Shizuka, telling her that she was now also Rentarou's girlfriend and that she should never hesitate to do or say whatever she wanted. Shizuka apologized sincerely, but Inda was still upset and she attempted to strangle her. However, Shizuka spoke from her heart and explained her fears, saying that she felt inadequate compared to Inda and Hakari in terms of feminine qualities. Inda and Hakari were moved by Shizuka's honesty and apologized for Inda's earlier harsh and insensitive words. As they discussed and bonded, Rentarou secretly spied on them, looking quite satisfied. He had planned this bathroom break so that they could have a chance to talk out their feelings and get along with each other without any distractions, including him. Rentarou was happy to see his girlfriends finally getting along, and he became teary-eyed as he was always emotionally moved by such moments. When Rentarou walked back into the room, he pretended not to know what had happened while he was away. Inda rushed to him and demanded that they redo the last loser's penalty. She insisted that Shizuka had to tickle him properly because her earlier attempt didn't count. Shizuka realized that Inda's effort was meant to help her, and this determination inspired Shizuka not to waste Inda's effort. Instead, she boldly asked for a kiss from Rentarou. Rentarou became emotional upon realizing that Shizuka wanted to share a kiss with him. He reached out to her and gently tapped her on the head because she looked cute, then drew her closer, and they shared a lovely kiss. Hakari saw this as an opportunity to ask for a kiss as well, and Rentarou kissed her in response. Rentarou then turned to Inda and asked if she wanted a kiss too, but Inda, who was the most reserved of the group, declined, saying she wasn't interested. She then moved closer to Rentarou, and he hugged her, telling her that even surfboards deserved love. Inda couldn't handle such sweet words, and she became flustered, playfully pounding on Rentarou's chest like a punching bag. In a surprising turn of events, Inda stopped her playful pounding on Rentarou's chest. He told her that he would love to kiss her and asked if she wanted to kiss him too. Inda couldn't help but confess that she also wanted to share a kiss because the situation was making her cringe with anticipation. Eventually, they both shared a kiss that would forever be framed in Inda's memory. Rentarou expressed his gratitude to his girlfriends, telling them how amazing they were. He explained how lucky he felt to have them as his girlfriends, and it was a heartwarming moment for all of them. The next day, Rentarou goes into the classroom and meets a girl named Nano. He tells her that the exam results are up and asks if she's going to see them. Nano says she won't bother since she already knows she got the top score. When their eyes meet, they both feel a strong sensation, making Rentarou think she might be one of his soulmates. He checks the results with his friends and finds out they all did well. Looking at the top spot, he's surprised to see Nano got a perfect score. He asks the girls about her, and they describe her as a total nerd who can answer any question. There are even rumors that she might not be human. Rentarou thinks an AI girlfriend good, because in future he will be using AI. During their biology class, Rentarou gets paired up with Nano. He notices that she's very different from his girlfriends because her elegance is at another level. He realizes she's just copying answers from her textbook because she thinks practical exams are a waste of time, believing scientists already have all the answers. He warns her that the professor is watching, so she reluctantly uses the microscope but keeps looking at her textbook instead of the specimen. He realizes she's behaving like a robot when he accidentally cuts his finger while slicing the specimen. He considers going to the nurse's office, but Nano reassures him there's no need and puts his finger in her mouth, which freaks him out. She explains saliva has natural disinfectant properties. Rentarou wonders if he's dreaming, and it upsets Inda, one of his girlfriends. After class, Rentarou thanks Nano for helping him, but she tells him she just wanted him to stay because she needed someone to help her clean up. He wants to get to know her better and invites her to go out with him, but she thinks it's a waste of time because it won't improve her future prospects. Rentarou thinks that having fun is the meaning of life, but she tells him he's delusional and says he's wasting her time. So he starts to wonder if she really is his soulmate. That evening, we see Nano in her room, pondering Rentarou and why she helped him. She realizes she has feelings for him, which she finds distracting. To refocus, she starts measuring his D size. Sorry guys, I mean, writing down the exact value of pi, believing it's the most efficient way to regain her focus. However, she notices that it isn't effective. Despite filling up the board and writing on many pieces of paper, she realizes she's just wasting time. Recognizing this as a problem, the next day Nano confesses to Rentarou that she's in love with him and wants him to be her boyfriend. Surprised, he expresses his desire to go out with her, but she declines, making him think he's being pranked. Nano explains that she wants to stop her feelings because she believes relationships only lead to marriage and pregnancy, considering teenage romance meaningless. She firmly states she'll never go out with him. However, Rentarou reveals his love for her and refuses to give up, pleading with her to give him a chance to win her over. A few days later, they visit an amusement park, and Rentarou is determined to show Nano that love has meaning. However, she finds the activities pointless and questions why they're even there. She notices Rentarou holding an instant camera, knowing it doesn't retain any data, and considers it flawed. Despite her confusion, Rentarou takes a picture of her. In the haunted house, Nano dismisses the ghosts as mere humans trying to scare them. She questions why Rentarou is afraid, suggesting they rename it a human house. Riding the teacups, Nano questions the creator's sanity and speculates it's meant to brainwash people. In the maze, they encounter dead ends, and Nano wonders why the designers didn't make a straightforward path, finding it unnecessarily difficult. At the Ferris wheel, Nano reveals her fear of heights, and Rentarou comforts her by holding her hand. They look at all the pictures they took, and Nano admits she had fun, but still considers the day meaningless. Rentarou decides to burn the photos, suggesting they erase the memory. However, Nano realizes the camera doesn't store data, so they would lose all records of the event. She takes the photos, and Rentarou acknowledges her fear of losing them, seeing their value. Moved by Rentarou's words about enjoying good times, Nano starts crying. She uses his handkerchief to wipe her tears, promising to disinfect it before returning it. Rentarou wonders if she'll use her saliva again, but she assures him she'll wash it. Nano expresses her desire for Rentarou to be her boyfriend to share more meaningful times. Rentarou reciprocates his love, and Nano kisses him, pledging to fulfill her desires. Rentarou introduces Nano to his girlfriends, who accept her without objections, for which he thanks them. once again promising to commit girls if he doesn't treat them well, but Nano tells him that poison would be more effective. They contemplate going out together, and Hakari feels jealous that Rentarou went to a theme park without her. She suggests they go to a water park instead. Now, Guys Beach episode comes. We see Inda looking for a swimsuit to wear, but she struggles to choose one. There's one that catches her eye, thinking it looks cute, but she's unsure if it will suit her. However, she considers that Rentarou might like it, so she decides to buy it. They arrive at the pool, where Rentarou sees the girls wearing swimsuits and is overjoyed at the sight, feeling like he can die happy. However, Inda arrives wearing a strange dress, causing Rentarou to panic, thinking she doesn't have a swimsuit. She explains she's feeling cold and will hang around the pool while they have fun. Nano directs her to a sunny spot, and Inda thanks her, saying she doesn't need to worry. But Nano is a Sigma female, so she responds that she doesn't care, giving some emotional damage to Inda, who tells Nano to f*** off. They enter the pool, where Shizuka keeps spinning on her floater, unable to control her direction. Nano believes the venue is for survival training and tries to swim against the current, but Rentarou stops her as Hakari clings to him, fearing she's being swept away. She moves near him, and Nano tries to do the same, but it makes him faint. Nano notices he's not breathing, so as Hakari gives Rentarou CPR, enjoying the moment, Nano tries to save him. Hakari insists it's not working, declaring Rentarou will die. Meanwhile, Shizuka gets swept away in the whirlpool, struggling to control her direction. She tries to get out of the pool but finds herself unable to. Realizing she's in trouble, she calls for help, but everyone ignores her. Her floater breaks, and she rushes out of the water, only to become stranded on an island in the middle of the whirlpool. Back with Rentarou, Nano suggests finding a lifeguard. They run around the pool, and a group of men call out to them. Hakari ignores them, but one of the men notices her physique and reaches out to her. Nano intervenes, poking his eyes, claiming it's the most efficient way to deal with a pervert. His friends become upset and try to intimidate Nano. She decides to hang out with them so Hakari can find a lifeguard to save Rentarou. Knowing he'd be sad if something happened to Hakari, Nano decides to help her escape. However, Hakari insists Nano isn't going with them, saying Rentarou cares about her too. One of the men reaches out to Hakari, but Rentarou steps in, claiming Nano and Hakari as his girlfriends. The man tells Rentarou not to interfere because Nano blinded his friend. He tells Rentarou to leave with his girlfriend, but Rentarou asserts that both Nano and Hakari are his girlfriends. The man doesn't believe him and challenges him to kiss both of them, thinking Rentarou won't be able to do it. To their surprise, Nano and Hakari both kiss Rentarou, confirming his statement. The men freak out, realizing he is the Dan Bilzerian of this anime. They decide not to mess with him. Hakari wonders how Rentarou was able to recover. We learn that Inda saw the incident and was about to make her way to Hakari and Nano, but she saw Rentarou along the way and thought he was already dead. She tells him not to die because Nano and Hakari are in trouble, prompting him to suddenly regain consciousness and rush to help them. Rentarou explains that he was able to make it because of Inda and thanks Nano for protecting Hakari. Nano thinks that Hakari is more important than her, but Rentarou tells her not to put herself in danger, making Nano realize that he also cares about her. Rentarou realizes that Shizuka is still in the pool and panics, knowing she can't swim. He rushes to her aid, and we see Shizuka asking for help, but everyone ignores her. She realizes her phone is running out of battery, but then hears Rentarou calling out to her. She tries to grab his attention, but he can't find her. In desperation, she considers screaming with her own voice, despite not wanting people to hear her. Finally, she screams with a high-pitched voice, and Rentarou immediately finds her, relieved that she's okay. He carries her away, and she kisses him, causing him to become embarrassed as he reminds her that they're still in public. They join the others, and Rentarou tells them that he's going to take a break, asking Inda to join him. During his break, he asks Inda why she keeps looking at Hakari and Nano, thinking she is comparing herself to them. He assures her that she and Shizuka are both normal, but she says that Shizuka is different because she's tiny and cute. Suddenly, Armik is a Giga Chad, so he removes her dress, revealing her swimsuit. She calls him a pervert, but he thinks that she looks amazing. He hugs her, and she realizes that his heart is beating fast as he tells her that she's unique, saying she can't be more attractive than she already is. Moved by his words, Inda decides to join them in the pool, and they enjoy the rest of the day together. They return to the school, and as they pass by the chemistry lab, Rentarou sees a girl. He feels a shocking sensation as their eyes meet, confirming to him that she is one of his soulmates. The next day, Rentarou returns to the lab, hoping to find his soulmate there. However, as he enters the room, he encounters a strange girl who introduces herself as Hakari from the chemistry club. She offers him tea, but he's surprised to see it served in a beaker. Hakari explains that she just finished developing a drug. Rentarou explains that he's not interested in joining the chemistry club. He's just looking for someone. However, she insists he drink the tea and wait. Curious, Rentarou decides to try it. Hakari then presents the drug she made, a human magnet medicine. She explains that if he takes it, his body will attract metals. Despite his initial skepticism, Rentarou drinks it, and soon his body starts acting like a magnet. Impressed by the unexpected effect, he marvels at its possibility. However, Hakari warns him about the drug's side effects, stating that he will be constipated for 3 days. She decides to test her theory, revealing that she has a drug with an opposite pole, and she drinks it, causing her body to become attracted to him. She explains that opposites attract, but she realizes that the magnetism is too strong, so she can't get away. However, she maintains her composure, knowing the effect only lasts for 10 minutes. She tells him she needs to pee, which makes him start to panic. But she reassures him, revealing that she's wearing diapers. She pees in her diapers, and finally, the effect wears off. She reveals that she wants to create new drugs and has already made plenty of them. Rentarou starts to develop feelings for her, and she already knows about this because she made him drink a love potion when he arrived. She confesses that she fell in love with him at first sight, but he throws up, saying he wants to get rid of the love potion. She wonders why the love potion didn't work and starts crying, asking him if she's not his type. He reassures her that he doesn't want to be drugged up when he accepts her feelings. He starts acting weird, and she knows that his body is trying to reject the drug. She tells him to drink a neutralizer, but he is convulsing, so she decides to give it to him using her mouth. His body recovers, but she despairs knowing the effect of the love potion is gone. He tells her that he still likes her, causing her to become flustered, and she begs him to go out with her, saying she will do whatever he wants. Suddenly, her hair starts growing, and her body transforms, revealing a very hottest girl of this anime.
Damn!
Maybe what you think, guys. Rate this girl and comment that she is the soulmate he saw in the lab. She explains that she also drank the neutralizer while she was giving it by mouth, revealing that she transformed into a kid because she worked on a failed immortality drug. She says that she can only maintain her current form for an hour. She reveals that she is the president of the chemistry club and that her current form has poor vision and long hair, so she prefers to do her research as a kid. He can't believe that she is one of his soulmates, but he agrees to go out with her. Rentarou introduces Hakari to his other girlfriends, and he doesn't receive any negative reactions. However, Hakari tells them that she loves drugs, which concerns Inda. Rentarou explains that she is older than them and that her small size is due to a drug. Inda interprets Hakari's interest in drugs as addiction, and this worries her. Hakari offers to help Inda grow her boobs with medicine, but Inda got pissed off. Hakari offers other medicines to improve herself, but Inda becomes even more upset, questioning why Hakari is doing this. Hakari reveals that Rentarou told her about Inda's insecurity. Inda reacts by becoming Brock Lesnar, torturing Rentarou, but Hakari intervenes, explaining how much Rentarou loves her. Inda immediately apologizes. Hakari gives Hakari a hotness medicine, claiming it will make her more attractive. Hakari believes it will enhance her assets, so she decides to drink it. However, she soon realizes she's sweating profusely, and her clothes start to melt away. Hakari explains that nothing is hotter than her birthday suit. Rentarou gives her clothes, and she notices his scent on them. Worried they might also melt away, Hakari assures her that the drug only works once, so Rentarou's clothes are safe. Hakari gives Shizuka a fantasy medicine, causing her to grow rabbit ears. Rentarou finds her cute, and he starts touching them, which makes her happy. Hakari then gives Nano a hair control drug, granting her the ability to use her hair like extra arms. Nano uses it to grab Rentarou, and she kisses him, expressing her liking for the drug because it increases her efficiency. Hakari explains that the drug lasts for 10 minutes and offers Nano more drugs if she wants the effect to last longer, but warns that it will increase her risk of going bald. Nano thinks it's a small price to pay and asks Rentarou if he will still love her even if she's bald. He reassures her, but mentions that he likes her hair, so she decides not to use the drug. Hakari shares her dream of joining a research team to make even more amazing drugs, but suddenly feels the urge to pee. Rentarou tells her to use the bathroom, and as they're about to drink tea, Kusuri warns them to be careful, explaining that the girl's tea is different from Rentarou's. However, she struggles to explain properly as she urgently needs to go to the bathroom. She rushes to the toilet, and they notice 2 containers, assuming the smaller one is for Rentarou. They start eating together, but Kusuri realizes the girls are about to drink Rentarou's tea. She warns them to spit it out, revealing that the big container has a drug intended to make Rentarou kiss her. However, Rentarou insists he will kiss her even without being drugged. Happy to hear this, Kusuri is about to kiss him, but suddenly Inda grabs onto her and throws her away as she realizes the girls want to kiss Rentarou. They start acting strangely, and Kusuri realizes she messed up, telling Rentarou to run, because the girls are experiencing the drug's side effects. Kusuri explains that it isn't safe for them because females already have a strong desire to kiss men. The drug amplifies this desire to the point where they lose control, making kissing the only thing on their minds. This somehow gives them super strength, turning them into what she calls kissing zombies. She warns Rentarou that they will try to kiss him forever, but he seems to be okay with this. Kusuri explains that they need the medicine reversing drug before the effects of the drug circulate too much, or their personalities will be erased forever. Rentarou only has 1 hour to get the drug. As the girls lunge at him, intending to kiss him to death, Kusuri and Rentarou run away. Kusuri suggests heading to the chemistry lab to find a cure. As they run around the campus, the zombies block their path. Kusuri looks for something she can use against them and finds a drug that can melt faces. However, Rentarou tells her not to use it and suggests they take a detour. As they run away, they encounter the vice principal, who frightens Kusuri. In her panic, she uses the face-melting drug on the vice principal, but her makeup protects her face. The vice principal warns them that her true form is about to be revealed and crawls away. As they continue to flee, the zombies come up with a plan and split up, intending to surround Rentarou. Realizing he's their target, Rentarou decides to draw their attention while Kusuri heads to the lab to find a cure. Meanwhile, Shizuka chases after Rentarou but suddenly trips and hits her head. Concerned, Rentarou takes her to the infirmary where he treats her wound. Realizing that Shizuka is still a zombie, she takes Rentarou down, kissing him repeatedly. He understands he messed up and thinks it's all over for him. However, he remembers that her personality will disappear if he doesn't find a cure. So, he pushes her away and manages to restrain her, promising to cure her. As he continues to run away, Inda launches at him, causing him to fall. They pin him down and they start kissing him. As he wonders how to escape, he sees them arguing, realizing they haven't changed. He makes them kiss each other, and they start making out. He realizes they're actually tough lovers because they fight every day. Although he's happy to see this, he recalls he still needs to find a cure. He dashes away but finds Nano inside the lab. He hides inside a locker, thinking he just needs to buy time for Kusuri to find a cure. However, he sees her in the locker as well. Kusuri explains that Nano spotted her before she could enter the lab, so she decided to hide there, unable to find a way out. Rentarou realizes Nano knows about their plan, and Kusuri suggests he act as a decoy so she can enter the lab. But Rentarou worries Nano will see through their plan. Kusuri blames herself, revealing her experiments always cause trouble, which is why she's the only one left in the chemistry club. She says she'll stop experimenting. Then she realizes she still has 1 dose of the reversing drug. Rentarou thinks about using it on Nano, but Kusuri starts drinking it. He tells her to stop, causing her to drop it. He suggests they should have used it on Nano, and Kusuri returns to her original form. She plans to enter the lab while Nano doesn't recognize her. However, she was only able to get a sip of the medicine, explaining she doesn't have much time. Kusuri thinks about restraining Nano before the drug wears off, but Nano finds her suspicious and ties her up. Rentarou panics, thinking they won't be able to cure the zombies, but then he sees the drug on the floor and comes up with a plan. He dashes away, running from Nano, and hides in a room. However, she destroys the door, causing him to freak out. Realizing there's no way out, she starts kissing him repeatedly as he accepts his fate. But at that moment, Kusuri gives Nano a drug causing her to pass out. Kusuri explains that Nano will be back to normal after she wakes up. It's revealed that Rentarou lured Nano away because he knew Kusuri's body was about to shrink, explaining how she was able to break free. They cure the other zombies, who wake up in the infirmary, wondering what happened. Hakari recalls kissing Inda, but Inda claims she doesn't remember anything. Rentarou knows they're just playing dumb but is happy they're able to get along. Fusari blames herself for what happened, so she apologizes to everyone. Rentarou reminds her that she saved them and tells her he's willing to fix her problems with her. He advises her not to give up on her research, saying he loves her because of her passion. Everyone's excited about the bouquet toss event at the flower park. Hakari suggests they join in because the winners get a special photo shoot dressed as a married couple. Hakari has always dreamed of wearing a wedding dress, so she's thrilled. A big crowd gathers, including the gorilla gang, who are determined to win for their leader. Hakari worries about dealing with them and suggests they work together. They decide by drawing lots who will participate. Rentarou thinks Shizuka should sit out because she's small and might get lost in the crowd. Fusari agrees to play and takes medicine to turn back to her original form. Rentarou notices that the gorilla gang has a flag, so he creates one for his team, calling them the Rentarou family. The game is about to begin, and the announcer explains that physical attacks against other participants are prohibited. Introducing everyone to the special guest, they see that it's the vice principal. She declares she wants the bouquet to leave the atmosphere because she doesn't want anyone to be happy. The game begins, and the vice principal throws the bouquet with incredible force. Everyone runs after it, with Rentarou noting that it's still going up, thinking it won't land for a while. Meanwhile, the gorilla gang members attack other participants, with their leader claiming they're not resorting to violence, just training, thus breaking the rules. The announcer agrees with the vice principal, who throws the members of her gang to knock people out. Hakari is about to get hit, but Inda protects her, saying she will join the gang to participate in their training. She grapples with the leader, announcing she'll take care of her so others can focus on getting the bouquet. As the bouquet starts to fall, the gang members use their flags to create an incredible wind, changing its direction, seemingly giving the gorilla gang the advantage. However, Shizuka, who was standing beside the flag bearers, is launched into the air by the wind vortex. She manages to grab the bouquet but is about to fall. The girls try to catch her, and Rentarou worries they'll get hurt, but she bounces off their chests, and he catches her before she hits the ground. The Rentarou family wins the event, and they start drawing lots to determine who will join the photo shoot. However, Hakari has a plan. She marked the winning stick with a tiny cut. Thinking it would be too suspicious to draw first, she plans to wait for someone's turn to end before making her move. She believes Nano will be an easy target as she's obsessed with efficiency, so she'll probably take the stick closest to her. Hakari puts the winning stick farthest away and tells Nano to take one, suggesting it's more efficient if they all draw at once. Hakari's plan is ruined when she underestimates Nano but still ends up winning the bouquet toss, making her overjoyed as her dream of wearing a wedding dress is about to come true. She notices Fusari crying because she wants to join the photo shoot, so Hakari selflessly offers her spot to Fusari, who initially accepts but then changes her mind, wanting both of her favorite people to be in the photo. Hakari gathers everyone for a group photo, thanking Fusari for helping her realize her dream. However, she abruptly tells Rentarou to break up with her without giving any explanation. Confused, Rentarou tries to reach out to Hakari, but she has already left. He decides to find her house using the address written on the envelope she sent him, discovering that she lives in a mansion. Upon arriving, Rentarou calls out to Hakari, but she hushes him as a guard approaches. She calls him from an unknown number, claiming she no longer loves him, but Rentarou senses she's lying. He insists on knowing the truth, prompting her to reveal that her mother, Hana, opposes their relationship due to his many girlfriends. Hakari explains that her phone was confiscated, and she plans to leave town as her mother intends to use her wealth to control her life. Realizing they can never be together under these circumstances, Hakari ends their relationship. Hana suddenly appears and takes the phone from Hakari, warning Rentarou to stay away from her daughter and threatening to eliminate him. A guard restrains Rentarou, recognizing him as Hakari's ex-boyfriend, and tells him to give up on being with her. Feeling dejected, Rentarou walks away, believing he's nothing special and doesn't deserve to be with Hakari. However, he spots a 4-leaf clover and reminisces about the moments they shared, reigniting his determination to win her back. That evening, Rentarou discusses his plan with the girls, explaining his intention to sneak into the mansion and rescue Hakari. They express concern, knowing that Hana's wealth and influence could make the mission difficult. Despite the risks, Rentarou is resolute in his decision to make Hakari happy, and is willing to risk everything for her. As Rentarou prepares to proceed with his plan, the girls insist on joining him, professing their love for him and their determination to save Hakari. Despite his attempts to dissuade them, they are steadfast in their resolve to support him in rescuing Hakari. Together, they head to the mansion, ready to confront whatever challenges lie ahead. Rentarou plans to throw a ball to grab Hakari's attention, but he misses the window, and the ball disappears. Inda sees a cat playing with it, and they try to chase after it as it makes its way to Nano. Nano thinks that the most efficient way to deal with it is to disable it with a kick, but Rentarou stops the cat. They hear the guard approaching, so they hide behind a tree. The cat approaches the guard, causing a commotion, but they can no longer retrieve the ball. They decide to go to Hakari's room. At the entrance, they see a pet door, and Nano collects rocks from the garden, using them to open the door with incredible precision, guided by the lock's location. Rentarou notices Nano's injured thumb, and Inda treats her wound. Nano explains that she injured her thumb while trying to improve her accuracy, grateful to Hakari for saving her from predators. As they enter the mansion, they encounter a guard dog approaching. They consider retreating, but they realize that Shizuka has been left behind. Shizuka believes it's over for her, but she instructs everyone to go without her. Surprisingly, the dog starts licking Shizuka, as Nano explains that dogs have a natural instinct to protect weak creatures, and Shizuka's frailty makes the dog forget its duty to protect the mansion. Rentarou thinks that the dog will pursue them once they enter, so Nano suggests telling Shizuka to poke its eyes out. However, Kasari shows them a potion that can put animals to sleep, giving it to Shizuka. Shizuka ends up drinking it because Kasari forgot to explain how to use it properly, causing her to fall asleep. However, the dog licks the drug from her, feeling drowsy as a result. As they enter a corridor, the cat joins them, triggering an alarm. Guards rush to their location, but they manage to hide, with the guards taking the cat away after realizing it tripped the sensors. Nano thinks they won't make it past the corridor without infrared goggles to avoid triggering the alarm. Kasari reveals she brought infrared vision eye drops, and Rentarou decides to use them, allowing him to see nothing but the sensors while under their effect. Inda notices Kasari dropped an envelope, and Nano realizes it's addressed to a foreign research team. Kasari explains she was planning to send the eye drops as an attachment to her application, but prioritizes helping Hakari over the research team. Rentarou's eyes transform, enabling him to see the sensors. However, he deems it impossible to pass through because the sensors are everywhere. He notices an opening close to the ceiling but finds the corridor too wide for a person to climb. Nano suggests two people work together, but she acknowledges they're all girls and might not match Rentarou's strength. Realizing that Inda is an exception in terms of strength, Nano ties them together, instructing them to synchronize their movements to get past the sensors. They manage to reach the top and make their way to the end of the corridor. Rentarou notices Inda's clothes are getting slippery, but they successfully reach the other side, with Rentarou telling the others to wait for them outside. Upon entering Hakari's room, they find her looking at their group picture, but the alarm is triggered, leading them to realize they shouldn't have opened the door. Surrounded by guards, they are taken to Hana, who reveals that she won't dispose of them because they're Hakari's friends. Rentarou expresses his determination to make Hakari happy, but Hana doubts him, sharing that she was 13 years old when she gave birth to Hakari through artificial insemination after the man she loved was dying from sickness. Hana explains that she made a reckless move out of love and doesn't want Hakari to suffer as she did. Hearing Hana's story makes Rentarou cry, expressing his desire to spare Hakari from such suffering. As the effect of the eye drops wears off, Rentarou can see Hana, and they both feel a shocking sensation as he realizes she is also one of his soulmates. Hana instantly falls in love with him and asks him to go out with her. Inda notices Rentarou's consideration of Hana's offer and reminds him that Hana is Hakari's mother. Hana explains that she was just joking and asserts that she will never allow Rentarou's relationship with Hakari to continue. However, Rentarou insists that he will never give up because he wants to make Hakari happy. Hana doubts his sincerity and brings out a lie detector to test his faithfulness. Rentarou is skeptical, so they decide to try it on Inda first. Hana asks Inda about her cup size, and despite Inda's claim of having almost C cups, the lie detector reveals that she's lying. Hana explains that it can detect even the slightest lie. Inda insists that she's a B cup, but the lie detector still indicates she's lying. Upset, she admits to only having a cups, and the machine confirms her truthfulness. Hana questions Inda's love for Rentarou, and despite Inda's sincere declarations, the lie detector accuses her of lying. Rentarou is devastated until the machine confirms Inda's love as the truth, restoring his faith. Rentarou decides to test the lie detector himself, professing his love for Inda, which it confirms is true. Hana, now trusting the machine, asks about his feelings for Hakari. He asserts his commitment to making Hakari happy, even willing to sacrifice his life for her, and the lie detector validates his sincerity. Hana struggles to reconcile Rentarou's faithfulness with his multiple girlfriends, doubting the machine's accuracy. Suddenly, a maid interrupts, revealing that Hakari is about to take her own life. Rentarou is momentarily stunned by Inda's threat, but Hana reassures him to focus on saving Hakari, promising to wait for Rentarou's return. Hana urges him to prioritize Hakari's safety. As Rentarou rushes off, Hana attempts to free herself, but Inda intervenes, emphasizing her actions are driven by concern for Hakari's well-being. As Rentarou arrives just in time to stop Hakari from jumping off the building, he pleads with her to escape with him. Hakari, feeling guilty for potentially causing trouble for Rentarou, expresses her concern for his well-being. However, Rentarou reassures her of his love and determination to be with her, stating that he cannot bear to live without her. He wants her to stay with him and she agrees, but then she falls. Rentarou rushes to catch her just in time, but he realizes he's in a difficult situation. Despite Hakari's insistence for him to let go, Rentarou refuses, and they both end up falling together. Miraculously, Rentarou manages to kick off the wall, allowing them to land safely in a fountain. The girls rush to them, but Shizuka is about to drown. Kasari saves her and wonders what she was thinking. Hana is relieved to see that they're okay. She realizes that Rentarou is willing to risk his life to save Hakari, so she concludes that he's a man of his word. She tells him to take care of Hakari. Seeing Rentarou's willingness to risk his life for Hakari, Hana acknowledges his sincerity and grants her blessing for their relationship. Rentarou promises to make Hakari happy and expresses his desire for Hana's happiness as well. Surprised by Hana's affection for Rentarou, the girls discuss their own feelings and insecurities while bathing together, but Inda knows she's no match for them, so she decides to retreat. She sees her and Rentarou in their room, but he tells her that her belly is visible. Rentarou recalls the time when he rubbed his head against it. She accuses him of doing it intentionally, but he tells her that he was worried about her, so he had to do everything to prevent her from falling. However, she tells him that she was embarrassed, so she wants to get back at him. She puts her head on his belly, and she enjoys the moment. Suddenly, Kasari joins them, so they pretend they were doing push-ups. Hana invites everyone to a pajama party. Rentarou admires the girls in their pajamas when Kasari and Shizuka kiss him, feeling like he's in heaven. However, Hana's nose starts bleeding, and Rentarou assists her, suggesting they can still have fun together despite her age. Meanwhile, the girls become concerned when Rentarou and Hana take a long time to return, and they hear Hana screaming. Rushing to her aid, they find Rentarou dressed as a girl, much to Hana's delight. However, Rentarou collapses in embarrassment, prompting Hana to devise a plan to revive him. Nano dresses as a prince and kisses Rentarou, causing him to regain consciousness. Amidst the laughter and enjoyment, Rentarou decides he's had enough and heads for a bath, with the girls eager to watch him. Shizuka tries to intervene, but the girls restrain her, teasing her about waiting for their return. Rentarou is taking a bath when he notices Kasari watching him through a foggy window. Startled, he mistakes her for a ghost, causing him to become frightened. Kasari informs the girls that their plan to watch Rentarou bathe has failed, prompting them to pull her away. Meanwhile, Hana suggests the girls use the attic to access the bathroom, but they become alarmed at the thought of a mouse being inside. As Rentarou overhears their conversation, he becomes convinced that he's being haunted. Meanwhile, Shizuka becomes worried about Rentarou and the girls, fearing that their actions might get everyone into trouble. In an attempt to break free, she discovers that she can roll away and gains momentum, causing her restraints to be removed. She ends up in the bathroom where Rentarou, startled by her sudden appearance, inadvertently drops his towel, causing her to faint. Is about to seek help when he notices the other girls at the entrance to the attic. Suspecting their intentions, he reprimands them for their behavior. Later that evening, Rentarou joins Hana in prayer for Hakari's father. Curious about Hana's romantic history, Rentarou learns that she has remained devoted to Hakari's father and believes she cannot love another man. However, Rentarou reassures her that it's possible to love more than one person genuinely. Hana then requests Rentarou to kiss her, recalling the advice of Hakari's father to save her first kiss for the man who will never leave her. Rentarou kisses Hana, evoking emotional memories of Hakari's father. Later that evening, everyone sleeps together in one room. Hakari approaches Rentarou, expressing her desire to sleep next to him out of fear of losing him again. Rentarou reassures her and they share a tender moment. As time passes, Rentarou wakes up to find Hakari making out with Inda, mistaking her for him. Disturbed by the sight, he retreats to the bathroom where he encounters Hakari's father. The father expresses his frustration at being separated from Hana and Hakari, but Rentarou assures him of his intentions to bring happiness to both of them. Rentarou credits the father for bringing Hakari into the world and promises to take care of Hana and Hakari. Grateful for Rentarou's commitment, Hakari's father feels a sense of peace and passes on, his soul finally finding rest. Rentarou is moved by the encounter, feeling a sense of closure and gratitude for the role Hakari's father played in their lives. The next day, Rentarou and the girls attend school and are surprised to find out that Hana has become the new chairperson, possibly to be closer to Rentarou. During lunch break, Rentarou heads to Hana's mansion but finds she's not there. He rushes to the rooftop and discovers her with the other girls, all waiting for him. They express their love for him, and Rentarou joins them, making a promise to bring happiness to all of them. That's it for this video. Watch the following video, and I'll catch you in the next one.